Hey, and welcome to, I don't know what to call this. If you're not aware, these shows are where I look at a game from some years ago that I've never played. I'd like to experience games from days gone by and see how they hold up. Tonight, we're looking at Blades of Time. This is a spectacle fighter, and it came out in 2012. It was part of that era of games where everything was gray and brown. The textures aren't the nicest, but it holds up decently. You play as Ayumi, who is on an island called Dragonland. She is there for treasure hunting and looking for her friend Zero. I'm not sure who Zero is, what their relationship is, or how they got separated, but those are the goals. Find Zero and treasure. And as it turns out, find out a lot more about what's going on in Dragonland. Let's just jump right into it. We're dropped right into the game after the menu and greeted by a dragon. But it doesn't appear to be a real dragon. It's some elaborate stone dragon that moves. Speaking of stone dragons, meet the Dragon Guardians. These enemies don't look like dragons at all. They don't have tails or breathe fire. They're armored dudes with swords. We're on a strange island, but we're not completely lost. We do have a compass. The inner dial points towards our main objective, and the outer dial points towards treasure. But I have found that the areas are small and straightforward enough that I never need to use this compass. I end up finding the treasure chest just by looking around. Once all the fighting is over, we find a couple of treasure chests with light in them. I'm not really sure what's going on here, but they're going towards the dragon, so something's happening. And the stone dragon moves, and it will allow us to walk across it.
A ghost?
Since this game started, we've been getting a bit of an exposition dump. I'll sum things up for you. Ayumi is part of a treasure hunting guild, that's guild with a capital G, looking for the legendary treasure of Dragonland. I have no idea what this treasure is. Is it a bunch of gold, artifacts, something else? I don't know, but you'll see later the guild loves throwing bodies at this island. Soon after, we meet a statue that is the spirit of the altar. Okay, so what the altar does is give us the ability to collect the life force of enemies and then bring it back to the altar to gain abilities. The voice acting on this is pretty good. This thing has a low, gravelly, rumbling kind of voice. It's helping me, but it seems a little menacing. We'll run into other spirit altars along the way. This isn't the only location, and get new abilities as we go. Setting enemies on fire, freezing them, knockback, things like that. Before we go forward, Ayumi is the type of person who narrates everything. She has no inner thoughts and outwardly expresses what she's thinking all the time. Some might find this annoying. I don't care about it, but if this grinds your gears, don't play this. Speaking of gears, check out this door. And don't mind me, I was being dumb and not hitting X repeatedly to open this. I don't know why I couldn't figure that out. I expected from the opening for there to be a lot of ancient looking structures, you know, stone and stuff, and there are, but then there are these metal doors and mechanical enemies later on. I didn't expect to see machines on an island of dragons. I suppose those dragon guardians do look kind of metallic. We get into the next area through the door and uh-oh, the lava's rising, we better move it. Okay, this is as high as I can go, so now what do I...
What's going on? It can't be true.
Oh.
This is me.
Yep, it's the Blades of Time, baby. We're time traveling, to a limited degree. For now, we don't know why this happened or how this happened, but we did not plunge to our death into a pool of lava, so that's a win. A door closed on us before as we were climbing up to avoid the lava, but now we can go back to when it was open and enter into this more open area. It must be the way the lighting is, but this looks gorgeous to me. The way the beams of light are coming in and they illuminate the building on the left. Just something about it looks great. Sometimes you'll come across these force fields that look like liquid blocking the way. I like this liquidy effect, this animation. I I think it reacts when you touch it. There's more ripples. We'll have to stand on a button to clear this in the next room.
These chests once contained the great treasures of ancient civilizations.
Ancient civilizations?
But where is it
So
now?
we're looking for valuable artifacts then, not treasure like gold or something.
No other naturalist has ever set foot here. That's why I'm here. I know that this
Throughout the
land is
game,
full
we'll
of
find
danger,
book
but
pages like this. They're fully
I'm
voice
ready to
acted,
pay
and
the
you'll
price
find
for
entries
knowledge.
from different people.
I'm going to leave
And the
short
voice
messages
acting
on my
is
way.
pretty good.
I hope
We had to fight a few enemies in that room back there, but now we can go through the doorway. What's this? A new weapon? A nice
Fellow treasure
rifle.
hunter.
This will not be the first dead treasure hunter we come across. Oh no, there will be more. Let's talk about aiming with this rifle. The aim sensitivity is very high with this. I looked for a sensitivity setting to tone this down a bit, but I couldn't find one. It's better to aim with the mouse vaguely where you want and then move Ayumi around to be more precise. I had a hard time standing still and aiming with the mouse. I am using a controller for this though. The rifle can hold a lot of shots before you have to reload, and it appears that you have infinite ammo. I haven't seen ammo pickups or total ammo count. So bullets for everyone. I like that. The rifle is powerful too. You can take out enemies with it and it alone. But good luck with the aiming though. These weird mutant enemies are tough. They move really fast and can easily stun lock you. It didn't happen right here, but at one point I did get pushed back by these enemies and stun locked until I died. Jumping and being very aggressive are your friends here. Okay, I lied. I didn't die to stun lock, but look at this. All three of them gang up on me and take half of my health away, and I was stun locked the whole time and couldn't do anything. Now I'm almost dead. Like I mentioned earlier, we will come across other altars like this, where we can use the life force that we've collected and unlock some new abilities. The nice thing is that they have these trials after you've unlocked a new ability so you can test them out. The game does make you go to the practice arena whenever you learn a new move, but it never takes very long to get through it. It's also nice practice so that you know what you're doing. The way this works is that you initiate a special move by pressing B, and then you either press Y, X, or A to execute whatever move it is that you want to do. Or one of the other face buttons, whatever controller type you're using. You've probably been noticing these flowers everywhere, right? It turns out that these are actually coral, and some of them float. I'm not sure how that works, but we can jump to the floating ones, and then that helps us traverse to different areas. From this point forward, I'm going to be jumping ahead quite a bit because most of the time, this game is a series of fighting enemies, standing on buttons, and opening doors. Every time I skip ahead, I promise you you're not missing too much. I was hoping for a little bit more with the combat, because it's mostly button mashing, which is fine. I love a good button masher, but I just want you to know what this is. There are these floating enemies ahead here. I think the design is interesting. You've got this snake going through a body here. It looks weird, but I like it. This guy dies very dramatically.
Get out as fast as you can.
Hey, are you okay with this? Your friend just died. He turned to dust. Does this bother you at all? No? Alright then. We get to our first boss, and it's this bipedal machine of some kind. It does a lot of talking before we actually fight it. It talks and tells us about the path being the one true treasure on the island. The same path that the altar was talking about. This machine doesn't seem antagonistic despite having to fight it. It says fighting it is our first challenge. And it says something about entering a portal. We just want to find Zero and treasure to take home, and everybody else is talking about the path. I don't know what's going on.
This is prepare yourself, for it is time to
The animations for this boss threw me off. It jerks and shakes around like it's unstable. And there are a couple of buttons in this arena that I thought at first I need to step on them while I fight the boss to do extra damage to it, but that's not the case at all. I took a long time to figure out how to deal with this boss. I'm not sure why, it's kind of embarrassing how long it took me to figure it out, but you have to destroy these rockets that he has on both sides of him, I think, and then you can start doing damage to the main body. This seemed like it took a lot longer because I was doing a lot of dodging, because like I said, the animations are weird. He's like jerking around and moving all funny. There's also an issue with if I zoom to one of the rockets and then he decides to do one of his stomp attacks, that stomp attack will hit me even when I'm in the air and knock me down. So that made it a little difficult to deal with this part. What you have to do is damage this boss as much as you can so that the vulnerable core is exposed, and then you can go over and do a lot of damage, way more damage than you could when the core wasn't exposed. And I think I had to do that twice, and then the boss went down. Okay, it felt like I was here for an eternity. So this machine is a portal that you use to get to different parts of the island. There are several of these because I guess the other parts of the island are inaccessible. You can't walk there, there's no bridges. After the boss fight, we meet the spirit of the dragon, who looks exactly like Ayumi. Same hairstyle and same voice, I think.
I am the spirit of the dragon. Thank you for setting me free. I'm deeply indebted to you.
Yeah, I think it's the same person voicing the spirit. They just added a little echo effect.
That you'll be needing my assistance.
I don't feel like this is a coincidence. They're so similar. I feel like there's something else going on here. Or maybe they just got a little lazy with the character design. So, the spirit of the dragon tells us that we have the ability to rewind time because we're on Dragonland, and that opens up our instincts that our fathers knew or something. I don't really understand it. Being on Dragonland awakens your true potential or something. So we can make clones of ourselves in order to open these buttons. So we can stand on one until the button is fully activated, and then rewind time and go stand on the other button. And then once we do that, the portal will open and we can use it. Okay, let's take this teleporter and see where we go. The new area is much greener. There's less of the ruins and more trees and bushes and stuff like that, which I like. And we also find out that we have a new ability called an order sphere. We're told that there are monsters hiding in the dark, and we need this order sphere in order to survive. You can think of it as a nightlight. It doesn't really do anything other than illuminate the area so that you can see what's going on. So I had one of those spheres up a minute ago, but then I forgot to bring up another one. I also don't think I could have brought it up because I'm getting stun locked here, but this is what happens when you don't have an order sphere. You can survive, but you do almost die. Inside the sphere, you move at normal speed, but when you're outside, you slow way down. So don't do what I did. Use the order sphere, or you'll almost die, or might just die. Okay, so we have another one of these liquidy doors that we have to get by. It's actually called a chaos wall. And this time, you don't have to press on a button to get by it. There's that obelisk over there that you have to destroy, but it's guarded by the enemies, so you have to kill the enemies first, then you can destroy the obelisk, then you can get through this door. A little variety for you. I am, again, embarrassed to say how long this fight took me. I die several times trying to do this, but this guy has a shield, which means I can't just whack him with my swords. I have to shoot the shield with my gun so I can kill him. It takes down the shield for me. But wait, I can't just use my gun. I have to rewind and get my past selves also shooting at him. do this rewind several times to build up a lot of me shooting at him, then his shield will come down. Oh, and by the way, there are other enemies that keep showing up throughout this fight. That's the thing about this game. Enemies are damage sponges. Some enemies you can't beat unless you rewind, like this guy with the shield. That's not a bad thing, but don't try to brute force yourself through everything. Finally, it's done. My God. After that very long fight, we run into our guildmaster, who visits us in hologram form, I think. He tells us about a sphere at the Dragon Temple north of here, wherever here is. It was used to travel back and forth from the island to the real world, but then something happens. Ayumi was sent here to figure out why that sphere isn't working and fix it. She's not here for treasure. So now the plan has changed. No treasure for us. We gotta find that sphere and figure out what's going on and why people can't travel back and forth between Dragon Island and the real world anymore. Ayumi is rightfully pissed off about this because, as I mentioned before, the guild loves to throw bodies at this problem. And there have been a lot of people sent here that die and never find anything, never come back. So Ayumi has been kind of used. Wow, okay, there's even a huge airship that's crashed on the island. They were really sending a lot in here to try to figure out what's going on. This thing up here is a chaos slasher. It will be following us around. Don't even think about attacking it. We just have to rewind a few times in order to distract this slasher with our past selves, and then we're able to get around this thing relatively easily. There's not really another way around, so we have to get onto the airship and fight a few enemies along the way in order to progress to the next area. There's a lot of flying enemies here, so there's quite a bit of wonky aiming in order to deal with them. After all that fighting, we meet Michelle.
Treasure hunting? I guess you have no idea. There is no treasure, girl. And why do you
Ayumi and Michelle and her whole crew are all a part of the same guild, and we're all stuck on this island. She and her crew have a plan to get off this island. They have a ship, and they want to use those flying corals on the island to lift the ship out of here. It's a pretty bold plan. How do you get down once you're up? As far as I can tell, once the corals are up, they stay up. This isn't like a hot air balloon. From what Michelle said, it sounds like they have a different ship that they're repairing. I thought they would use this one and try to fix it up. Okay, hang on a second. Hang on. Can we talk about Michelle's shoes? These look like they're at least 10-inch heels. You go treasure hunting in those? It's the same with Ayumi. She's wearing heels too, but at least they're reasonable. And look, I get it. I understand why so often in games the female characters dress like that, because they have to be sexy. I mean, look at what Ayumi's wearing. She's wearing barely any clothes. She's got like just a bra on and then a bunch of like straps and shit all over her torso or whatever. I get it, but like, you're going treasure hunting in that? Really? So we don't agree to go with her, with Michelle. She says to stay away from the northern part of the island. The guildmaster says go there. I'm not feeling great about this. We have another boss near the top of the airship. It's some kind of shaman or wizard or something. He talks about humans giving up their life force to us and to fulfill the chaos with a capital C. I don't know about all that, but Big Boy here is in the way, so he needs to be moved. This guy shoots fireballs, so I tried to shoot him from a distance to try to do damage, but even when I made multiple copies of myself, it did no damage to him at all, although it does stun him. When I dodge right into the fireballs. Ayumi jumps. And here again, I think I'm gonna slide on the ground and I jump right into the fireball. I guess it's because I'm trying to slide down a slope, but you can't really avoid the fireballs. Here, the boss does some kind of explosion attack and I get damaged even when I'm not close to him. This explosion attack really set me back because not only did it damage me, but I also got knocked to the side here, and when I get up, I fall through a hole in the ground and fall back down the ship, so I have to run back up there to the boss again. This should have been obvious, but I thought I'd try a bunch of other things first. You have to rush to him, and then rewind a bunch of times to stack up the damage, and then you can kill him. I was getting nervous though, because he was charging up to do an explosion attack, and I was afraid that if I rewound at the wrong time, the explosion would go off and kill me. So I was kind of nervous doing this.
Where did the whole chaos thing come from?
Yeah.
One day, it just invaded our world.
Oh.
Keeper of Chaos
So
was
it just
powerful
showed up
that
one
even
day.
dragons could not resist him.
Okay. Let me
So
explain
you're
some
saying
things.
that the Keeper
There's somebody
now
called the
rules everything?
Chaos Keeper
To be
who
exact,
beat the dragons and is now in charge.
far as I
No!
know, the Vicar of
That's the
Chaos does.
Vicar
He
of
is
Chaos
taken
who's
from
in
the
charge.
North.
Don't you know, you
Once
silly
see
goose?
it in the Dragon
They're in
Temple,
charge,
you will
not
have
the
to cross
Chaos
the land
Keeper.
he reigns over.
He's up north, and that's where the all-important Dragon Temple is, so that's where we're going, straight into the Chaos. I don't know who those two Chaos people are, but we're moving on. After that boss fight, there's another dragon altar that we go to for some upgrades. Now we've learned the ability to do a slide attack, so we don't just have to dodge around constantly, we can actually do damage while we're dodging. Conveniently, there's a teleporter located right next to the altar, so we can take that and go to the next area, which is going to put us right in the middle of where Michelle and her crew are. We basically teleport right into Michelle's basement, so I'd be a little bit worried about that teleporter being right below me, because
And
who knows what
Maybe
could
I'll
get
find
in
Zero
here.
No guards. That's strange. And what if monsters get in there?
Great point. So we go up to where the ship is, and Vern here welcomes us in pretty quickly. Michelle knew that we would show up here. See, Ayumi wants to go to the northern part of the island, but everyone is telling her that it's too dangerous. But the north seems to be the source of all the problems on the island. I did walk around for a while, hoping that I could find somebody to talk to about letting me through to the north, but I couldn't find anything. I did try jumping up here to see if I could go around, but I can't land up there. And when I walk over to the door just to see what's going on, if I get too close, everybody turns on me and starts attacking me.
I can't go
But I
any
now
further.
know that I need a key to unlock that door, so I have to find it. But Ayumi's gonna have a lot of blood on her hands. There's probably a dozen guys here that she kills. I didn't want to do this. This has gotten really out of hand. I don't know why they won't just let me through the door. I'm taking my fate into my own hands. We do eventually find a key once all of these guys are dead, though. Naturally, these people are not happy that I went through the door, and they're gonna try to hunt me down. Remember, the Guildmaster told us that there's a sphere in the north used to travel back and forth to the real world.
There's another sphere
Michelle
up
either
there.
doesn't believe it's there or is lying to everyone so her people can stay there on the island, and she's probably looking for something else. Michelle, I think, is just power hungry and is looking for something to increase her power.
Michelle, kill her.
Yep, Michelle wants us dead now. We're in for it. As it turns out, there are a lot of people beyond the door in the north here. I thought at first that this was going to be a boss arena. It's big enough to be one, but no, we have to turn the wheel to unlock the door to leave, but enemies are shooting at me from above, so I've got to use the time travel in order to get out of this.
It's a lost ancient town built by the Sky Guards.
Who are the Sky
Portal
Guards?
is inside.
Who? This game now has lasers added to it. Fun. The Sky Guardians are the ones who were guarding the dragon's home, but since the chaos came in, they had to go back to Sky Island, and they're not on this part of the island anymore. These fights are getting really difficult. I think the right strategy is to attack an enemy for a bit, rewind, then attack the same enemy with current Ayumi and past Ayumi. It's what I did with the last boss. I thought I could get an advantage by attacking multiple enemies at once with past and current Ayumi, but it seems like focusing on one is the way to go.
Someone doesn't want these things to be used.
I'm so dumb here. I didn't listen to what she said and did not see those spikes at all. What we're trying to do is open this big door, but we have to press a couple of switches. and I didn't realize that there's another one of these chaos doors back where I came from, but without the gate that you have to open. So now I need to go over there and press the other button that I need to press in order to get that chaos wall to disappear. But first... Oh, our friend Zero. Fancy meeting you here. They're not really seeing eye to eye on things here. I mean, Ayumi did kill all those people on that ship, and Zero is rightfully skeptical and weirded out about that one. We find out that Michelle is guarding the portal because she's afraid that using it will kill everyone. Well, we've used 2 portals so far to reach new parts of the island, so that hasn't been a problem. Zero is not going to help us, but he's not going to stop us either. It's actually 2 crystals that we're having to activate in order to open the big gate at the end of the hallway. I misspoke earlier. But now we have a boss to fight. This is a Sky Guard. He's got these big tanks on his back, so he's basically unkillable unless we destroy the tanks on his back. So we got to go through him in order to get out of this room. If you damage this boss enough, you can trigger one of those right bumper attacks where you do like a special attack on him. But as you can see here, I'm attacking him with this, but his health is regenerating anyway, so I don't really understand the point of having that attack for this boss. So here's what you need to do, and I don't know how this is going to look in the video, but at least on my screen there's a lot going on, lots of effects happening. So in order to beat this boss, you have to make multiple copies of yourself to attack the tanks. Then, what you're supposed to do is use the right bumper attack to stun this boss, then rewind a bunch of times and get a lot of copies of yourself attacking all at once in order to drain its health, and then that's how you kill it. That's not what I did here, but I realized that was the most optimal way. That's what you were supposed to do, and I took way longer to do this fight than what you just saw there. I don't really understand why I get this time rewind mechanic on paper, but then in practice I just seem to be an idiot and I can't figure it out very quickly. Uh-oh, looks like a lot of the Sky Guards got out as soon as we opened that door. This is probably what Michelle was afraid of, that a bunch of these would flood out of here. We gotta fight through them, and I'll have you know I am playing this on the hardest difficulty, which is probably why I'm dying as much as I am, but rewind. Rewind is your friend, do it a lot, stack up the damage, and it turns out that you do more damage when you rewind. After all that is done, we get through the gate, and there's another altar here where we learned a new massive attack. I haven't talked about this, but I should. Do you see the bar below the health bar in the top left? That will fill as we attack enemies more and more. The first skull that highlights allows you to do one of those special attacks. When the second skull gets highlighted after you've attacked enough, that allows you to do the massive version of that special attack. And then all the way at the end, there's that little plus sign that will earn you a heal if you get all the way up there, just by attacking, not using special attacks, because the special attacks drain this bar when you use them. One of Michelle's henchmen is setting up traps for us here. This looks scarier than it actually is. One of these blades moves really fast, but I managed to get through it okay. So this wooden platform collapses, and I wanted to see if it's one of those platforms that briefly collapses and then comes back. And then I realized, oh wait a minute, did I screw myself? Can I make this jump? I don't know if I can. I have to try though. Okay, I just barely made it. This room is not the most fun thing. Timing these jumps so I don't hit the lasers isn't the worst part. It's when half the time I don't dash in the air when I press right trigger. I am mashing right trigger here trying to get through these, and I'm just not dashing at all. You see these tracks on the ground here? And you see those lasers on the other side? Well, I don't see them at all. I'm so focused trying to figure out what these things are on the ground. Do blades come out of these or something? No, dummy. Lasers. Anyway, we get to the center of the room and now we have the last crystal needed to operate the portal, which should take us to Skyland where the dragon altar is. I don't think Ayumi sees this cutscene because she doesn't say anything about what's happening. This is not happening in front of us then, but the Sky Guardians are capturing people and taking them somewhere. I'm not sure where or why, but I'm sure we'll find out later. The room with the portal really sucks. We have to use the order spell, the one that makes the bubble around us, to push these energy orbs from obelisk to obelisk over to the portal to power it on. But of course, enemies show up to ruin things. Remember those weird mutant things that can stun lock you and gang up on you? Yeah, they're here, and they're also invisible unless you use this order bubble. On top of that, there are flying enemies shooting at me. They're also invisible. And I'm trying to move this energy orb, 2 of them actually, to the portal. The problems are that when I focus on one enemy, the other ones on the ground rush me, or the flying enemies shoot me into Swiss cheese. I can't ever stand still. Time rewind helps, kind of, but there are plenty of enemies coming after present me instead of past me. Plus, I have a hard time getting the orb to move where I want it to go. I think these enemies endlessly respawn until you move the orb to the portal. I end up dashing around for a while waiting to get a healing charge ready. This is a common thing with this game. Every enemy does so much damage to you, anything can take you out. I don't believe there have been any health upgrades either. Even with the damage upgrades, every enemy is a damage sponge. Oh, and it's not until late in the fight that I start landing these right bumper finishers. I don't know what's going on, I'm spamming the right bumper button to do the finishers, and I'm just not grabbing them. Before we go through the portal, a Sky Guardian shows up for a boss fight. He says a couple of things I'm curious about.
Time is needed to help the humans. Now is not safe to free your kind.
Not safe to free your kind. What does that mean? Free us from what? From chaos? From something else? What is he talking about?
Indeed, thou art strong, but chaos shall reign if thou dost not leave the path. The more force thou receives, the more power it has over thee.
This is something that I was definitely thinking about. The Dragon Altar is helping us and giving us power, but there seems to be some ulterior motive that I don't understand. Why is it giving me so much power? Why is it so obsessed with the path? I don't even know what the path is. It's just a thing that people keep talking about, and I don't know what's going on. Something's happening. I just don't know what it is. I'm being used somehow. Can't let this guy stop us. We gotta get to Skyland. Let's take this teleporter and get out of here. Get to that dragon town. Ah, Skyland. Here we are. Wait. This doesn't seem right. Oh! We're on the wrong planet here. The sun is hot here. If you go in the sun for too long, you will die. Man, this must be what it's like to be a vampire. This freaking sucks. This is the Skyguard's home planet. It's awful. It's hot. There's enemies with pickaxes and shields. There are these big worms that come after you. These head crab looking things jump out of the sand constantly and try to attack you. You have to move these big pieces of metal around so that there's shade so that you can move and that you don't die in the burning hot sun. But we have to find all 3 of the crystals so we can get the portal working again and then go back to, well, get to Skyland. There's a really big worm that you have to fight, but it's a really long and boring fight. And too bad, fuck you, you can't use the time rewind to stack up damage on this thing to make the fight go any faster. And you gotta wait for this thing to come down and try to hit you, and then you gotta just keep hitting this thing, and it's just so annoying. And you finally take the portal to get out of here, and then you show up in Sky Island, and Ayumi has changed outfits for some reason while she was teleporting. I don't know what this whole section was, but I'm glad that it's over. I'm glad it's over. Ugh. This area has a lot of gray and brown, but there is some color. This tree looks pretty nice, so that's good. The Guildmaster shows up again in hologram form to tell us that the Sky Guards and Chaos Victor have come to a truce. They've been fighting since the beginning of time, so this is unprecedented. How about the Chaos Keeper, or did I miss something about that guy? In addition, he tells us that Zero and other humans, presumably Michelle and her people, have all been imprisoned. And from the spirit of the island, she tells us that the Sky Guards have taken the humans to the Sky Dock to transport them somewhere else, I guess. So that's where we're headed. Ayumi mentioned earlier that she was worried the humans are being experimented on. It's possible. I don't know why the humans wouldn't be rounded up and killed right away. I am starting to wonder what all this is about. What is Dragonland? Is it above the earth, hidden in the clouds somewhere? Is it an actual island on the earth? Are the Sky Guards just dudes, or are they gods? Are the Chaos some kind of deity as well? Maybe the Sky Guards represent order, and Chaos is obviously order. That one Sky Guard boss we fought told us we should stop listening to the Dragon Altar and taking power from it. But what is the Dragon Altar? I feel like the altar is in cahoots with the Chaos or something, because the Sky Guards really don't like it. And that altar does seem fishy. I don't trust it. What is the treasure we're looking for? I'm sure it's something to do with time travel, or it has the ability to destroy the world or something. Is this going to be one of those things where the Guildmaster just wants the treasure so he can become powerful? I bet he's on an ego trip or something. I want to be the big cheese. I want to be in charge. I just want to give you a quick summary about what's happening. We used this air highway system to travel to other floating islands, which is what we're doing right now. We also have gained the ability to fly ourselves short distances as long as one of these buoys is nearby. It's that thing that's floating on the right side of the screen. There are plenty of enemies to fight along the way on all these little floating islands. There are, of course, buttons that need to be pressed, which we do press them. And these obelisks need to be destroyed because behind that force field is another one of those crystals that will help activate the portal, so we can get to that later. That is what went on here. Nothing too eventful, but now, by activating this crystal, we will have access to a new highway connection to get us closer to the portal and then Dragon Temple eventually. I was being dumb again with this room and couldn't understand what was going on in here. I thought for some reason I had to turn this wheel and another wheel in here at the same time to open something up. No, just turn this wheel at the top, time travel backwards, walk down the ramp and through the now open door. I don't know why I had such a problem with this, but I did. These flying enemies right here are no joke. They shoot lasers at you, or whatever it is these things are that they're shooting at me. On top of that, they throw these metal balls at me that after a short duration, a barrage of rockets shoots down from above. I don't know how flying creatures on a hidden island with dragons and chaos demons got rocket salvos, but they have them. Then I found out that you can kick their balls, and if you do it right, they get hit with their rockets as well as getting their own balls kicked in their face, so that's pretty cool. I, of course, didn't do that because I suck, but you probably could. Anyway, we get a rocket launcher, so that's pretty neat. We can't hold the rocket launcher for very long, but it does clear out rooms a lot faster than just wailing on enemies. Okay, use the order spell to connect pairs of mechanisms so that we can turn on this elevator and go up. Alright. Okay, so I've been working on this video for a while, and the last time I did a video like this, on a game called Inversion, that video didn't do well. It was dead on arrival. I love making longer videos, but this video, Blades of Time, is taking so long to make. It's been over a month real time. From this point forward, we're speeding things up. I'll summarize until the end of the game. Don't worry, I'll try not to leave out any important story bits. I don't know how I feel about these purple lattice structures all over the Skylands portion of the game. It feels like they needed some place for you to walk around, and this is it. It seems out of place, but whatever. Zero was captured and is being carried away on a ship, so we've got to go after him. We end up riding on the ship while fighting enemies, and I die a lot. I've noticed at a number of different points the game takes away the ability to use time rewind. It makes sense because then the ship we're on would keep traveling backwards. Those enemies are endless until we reach a cutscene and then can jump off here. We reach another portal that will take us to the Brutal Lands, the next area. And we spring Zero out of prison.
My baby.
We get a good shot and see that Ayumi got booty. I think we all would like to have a nice booty for ourselves. I certainly would. Anyway, the boss gets toasted, and now we can go through the portal to the Brutal Lands. Michelle is working for the Sky Guards. She's been sent to come after us. Welcome to the Winter Hellscape, home of the Chaos Realm. Enjoy your stay. Say hello to a new enemy type with a big hammer. These guys can be a real pain when there's more than one of them. They will repeatedly hammer the ground, which sends out a shockwave of frost that will freeze you in place. It does some damage, and mostly it's annoying. This weapon is extremely useful because it allows you to freeze enemies and then you can kill them in one hit. It's a lifesaver. Mind you, it's only a pickup. You don't have this weapon all the time, but when you do have it, oh boy, you better use it. We get our first look at the Chaos Vicar, the guy with the wings. I love this enemy design. It looks really good. All of the enemy designs in this game look really good. These enemies are really annoying. They hold one of these guns that they shoot at you and freeze you constantly. There's several of them on these steps here, but what I figured out is that if I can get myself at the right angle and shoot at each of these enemies on each of the levels, I can freeze them ahead of time, and then I don't have to go up there and fight each of them individually and take away the gun that they're holding. I just took care of all of that now. Join us, Ayumi. Join the Vicar's forces. Embrace the chaos.
And if I don't, then what?
Then we have the authority to exterminate you.
How appealing. But you know, about that authority of yours.
Ayumi being a boss. These are human enemies corrupted by chaos, and you wouldn't think that they'd be too difficult, but their aim is like lasers, and they can easily have multiple people shooting at me at once that just eviscerates me. They never miss. They never miss at all. You never get any health upgrades in this game. I'm playing it on hard, but this is pretty brutal. We're off to fight the Chaos Vicar. He's right up there. Here we go.
The Keeper is not capable of affecting reality directly, but he can take a million different faces.
The Keeper can take a million different faces. Keep that in mind for later. He could be anybody. Anybody. So this boss fight is not too bad. I didn't die once. You absolutely should take out the two hammer enemies first, so you don't have to deal with them later. He also does some kind of lifesteal thing, which I think is what he's doing here, so yeah, get rid of these guys right away. I did a combination of attacking with melee and range, rewinding, and racking up as much damage as possible. He does do this spin move that can go on for a while. I couldn't find a way to knock him out of it, but you can shoot him while he does it, and then stack melee on him when he stops. He doesn't do anything too fancy and gets brought down with relative ease. Now we can go through the portal. Zero is not happy with Michelle, but Michelle ends up dropping whatever it is that she was planning before and just wants to get off of the island. So now, Zero and Michelle are going to work together to help save Ayumi and facilitate everybody's ability to get off of the island. There is a lot of fighting at this point. Things have really picked up. The game is throwing everything it has at us. A lot of the time, it's quite overwhelming, to be honest. We're close to the end of the game, and I do appreciate how much things have picked up recently. With the Vicar being dead, the Chaos and Sky Guards are fighting each other. Both are headed for the Dragon Temple to make sure they are in control of it and not the other side. And while I think the combat isn't varied enough for my liking, I do enjoy rewinding and the powers I've gotten. Even though there are only 3, I think the combat is solid enough. Oh no, this thing's at the bottom of the stairs. What am I gonna do? I have been very carefully making my way down these stairs looking for this thing, and it's not here. Was this a bug or something? Where did this thing go? It's alright though, because eventually we are gonna kill that thing. I promise you, we're gonna kill it. Well, this thing shows up again, and we have to time rewind a bunch of times in order to get past this thing. We're waiting for an elevator to show up, and my palms were sweating because I was worried that this thing was going to grab me. I didn't have a lot of time rewind resource to use, so I was worried about this, but it turns out that we were okay. We made it through, and I didn't die. And we make it to the top of the elevator, and we're getting into the Dragon Temple now. And I have to say, I really like the art direction in this game. I especially like this on the floor. This is really cool looking. I like this a lot.
You have reached the end of the path, and behind these doors awaits your final challenge.
I'm ready. I'm so ready. Let's get this on. I have to say, this is the Dragon Temple. I'm not as impressed with this as I had thought. I was expecting a lot more big dragon statues. This place seems just kind of run down. This is that sphere. We need to turn this on so we can go home. Problem is that these things are blocked by tree roots, I think. We need to destroy those to free up those things so that the sphere can be activated. As you may have come to realize, Ayumi is a descendant of the dragons. Remember what I said earlier about Ayumi and this spirit of the dragon character? Yeah, I think it's the same person voicing the spirit. They just added a little echo effect. I don't feel like this is a coincidence. They're so similar. I feel like there's something else going on here. Wait, Ayumi broke into the guild to use the sphere? I thought she was part of the guild. Did they say that earlier? I don't remember that. I thought she was part of the guild. Anyway, the spirit tells us we need to jump off of a nearby ledge. She just has a feeling about it, that that's what we're supposed to do. Ayumi and myself think that's crazy. And here I think I have to turn all these levers at the same time. No, actually, they just play various different messages talking about how you have to be ready, you have to use your power wisely, that kind of stuff. I thought I was trying to open something with all these levers, but no, that's not the case. I just noticed that this room is full of eggs. Tons of dragon eggs. I do think it's kind of weird that they're just sitting on the shelves. Shouldn't they be incubating in some kind of container? I don't know, but there's a lot of them. So jump off this ledge, huh? Okay, I mean, against my better judgment, I guess we'll just have to go. This is a bad idea. We're gonna die. We're absolutely gonna die. Look how high up we are. Oh wait, the spirit! We're becoming one! Fly, little dragon. Fly. You earned your wings.
And now guess what? Now we can fly? Nothing can stop us? Oh baby, nothing can stop us. Instant finishers? No problem. Get the hell out of my way. Oh no, this guy's got a shield. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna break right through it and kill you. No problem. No problem at all. Oh no, this guy's got a big hammer. Please don't hurt me. You should be worried about me hurting you.
So yeah, we're really strong right now. Regular enemies barely do any damage to us at all. And we're just bulldozing over people. And I gotta tell you, it feels great. Ayumi, you look great. So, here comes a bit of a twist. Who do you think is in this dragon temple right now? Well, that's right. It's the guild master, and he's got some things to say. It turns out that the guild master is the Chaos Keeper. He was awoken by Ayumi, a dragon descendant. It's not clear when this happened. Was the Keeper awoken when Ayumi was born? Then he had to wait things out for... How old is Ayumi? She's got to be in her 20s somewhere. So the Keeper has been sitting on this for a while, a couple decades at least, and had the good sense to infiltrate the Treasure Hunters Guild to find the descendant. This talking isn't doing it for me. We got to take this guy out. But then we happen to see his true form, which is horrifying, but also a cool design, I will say that. But also, ew, gross. This boss fight is not well designed. He constantly has his shield up, so I can't do any damage to him. And I can't break those branches or roots loose off of those things to get the sphere started up again. And I end up struggling for a while trying to figure out what am I supposed to do with this guy. I looked in our handy dandy notebook before the fight started, and it doesn't say anything about what he's weak to or how to beat him. I was really taking a beating here, and I got to the point where I said, okay, I need to get away from this guy and give myself some breathing room. I didn't think that I could fly up onto that ledge that's above us here, but you can actually. And you are safely, as long as you position yourself far enough away from the ledge, you're safely out of range from this guy, and he can't do anything to you up here. He doesn't jump up here, he can't fly, although you have to be careful about the fireballs that he shoots, because that can still hit you if you're too close to the edge. I hang out up here for a while because I'm lost. I don't know what to do. The game hasn't told me anything about how to beat him. I was hoping there would be a weapon up here or something, but no, there's nothing up here. The Chaos Keeper has a lot of dialogue that he goes through. I thought maybe this was one of those situations when you're not supposed to win the fight right now. You have to wait out all of this dialogue until you get a cutscene and something happens. I had to look this up. I don't know what to do. Thank you, Game FAQs of GameSpot.com, and thank you, Mike ZZ from 10 years ago. I hope you're well. Hit him with fire, then hit him with ice. Combo him until he pushes you away. What? There is no other enemy in the game that works like that. The only other enemy that has a force field around it like that are some of the more common enemies, and what you have to do is you have to shoot it, rewind a few times, and get several Ayumis firing at it at the same time so that the shield comes down, and then you can damage the enemy. No other enemy in the game requires you to use fire and then ice, and then they're vulnerable to attacks. This makes no sense. There's no way I could have figured this out unless I just started experimenting and happened to figure it out. I know there are combos you can do, like if you freeze an enemy and then attack them with a fire attack, your damage is increased, but no other enemy in the game requires you to use that combo or any specific combo in order to beat them. I won't linger on this point, but I found that very annoying. And this boss does a lot of damage. I die a couple of times trying to beat him. We can't beat this boss here because once he's damaged enough, but not at 0 health, we do get a cutscene.
This human Ayumi has no future, but the dragon Ayumi does. If I cast my hand, I can take your powers, rendering you dead. You can
What?
everything or
You could have taken my powers away at any time during this fight? What was the point of fighting at all? If he could just wave his hand and take all my powers and kill me. That makes no sense. Why did we fight him at all? We're being made to kill our human form, but Ayumi doesn't do that. She stabs herself and kills her dragon form self, but doesn't kill her human form self. And these ships showing up here is good news because we've got help. It's Zero and Michelle. They're here to help. Hooray! This whole boss fight just kind of sucks because what's happening now is that these roots that are surrounding the little power things have to be destroyed. Michelle and Zero get to do that, but if I try to get close to it and hit it, I just get shot at immediately. So our job is to distract the Keeper, but there's a bunch of Sky Guardians here doing a perfectly fine job keeping him distracted on their own. And so I end up being able to just stand around and do nothing. Like over here, I am just standing here doing absolutely nothing. Zero and Michelle are damaging the thing over there, and the Sky Guardians are keeping them busy. Although that's not completely true because I do have to at least fire my gun at the Keeper to keep him busy because, as you can see, he keeps shooting rockets over there and interrupting Zero and Michelle from damaging the roots. But definitely you don't want to get near him and do any kind of melee because you'll just get killed. This is not very good. I don't need to engage with the boss in any meaningful way other than taking a few pop shots at him. And the Sky Guardians will not attack me. They won't bother me at all. I just think this is really sloppy and just not interesting. The roots are destroyed and the sphere is able to power up, which means we can finally get out of here. We're back at the guild. It's a pretty nice looking building too. But the sphere is still on, which is not good. We need to turn that thing off so nothing else can come through. I really think we should turn the sphere off, but Zero and Michelle just want to get out of here. But they say that the door is blocked from the other side. Just take that wood beam off. As I expected, the Keeper is trying to get in here, but he appears to be stuck. I'm not sure why he can't get all the way through. This is effectively phase 2 of the Keeper fight. Now the Keeper can't move, but this boss does something I really don't like, which is spawning a bunch of smaller, weaker enemies that come after you, and then you have to deal with them before you can actually get to the boss himself, which I really don't like this kind of stuff. It's so annoying. Why can't you design a boss that is interesting to fight on their own, has a move set that's challenging to deal with, has a mechanic that is something different that you have to deal with? Why just spawn a bunch of little enemies that I have to then fight? It's so boring and stupid, and I don't like this in any game. Any game at all, I don't like this. Once you get through all of the little enemies that the boss sends at you, you have to get close enough to deal damage to him. But after a while, he'll send this shockwave to send you away from him. But numerous times, I don't get to do any damage to him, and he just pushes me away instantly. This happened just a second ago. I got to do no damage to him before getting pushed away. And here it is happening again. I don't even get to do a single swing. And again. Oh, but we do it. We finally do it. Ayumi gets the final hit in on this guy and sends him back to whatever hellscape he's from. Get the hell out of here. The fighting is over. Apparently there's a lot of wind as the Chaos Keeper is being pulled back into the sphere, and Zero is knocked out, and unfortunately he's gonna get pulled into the portal, and we're not gonna see him again, unfortunately. And that's the game. I didn't dislike my time with it, although the rifle aiming could be better, the final boss is terrible, along with a host of other things I've mentioned. It's all here, watch the whole video, why'd you zoom to the end? So, I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope you watched it all the way through, I really appreciate it if you did, and I will see you next time. I mean, look, just look at the difference. See for yourself.
Peace out of this place.